Hello and welcome back to the channel, and if it's your first time here, hi, I'm Shu and I make food, travel and lifestyle videos here on YouTube. So I spent the past 2 days in the Isle of Wight as part of Rabbie's 3-day Isle of Wight and the South Coast tour. Had an amazing time, and if you want to see a video all about my time there and everything I experienced, then I'll link it up here. But today I'm about to check out, get some breakfast, hop on the ferry over to Portsmouth and head over to Winchester for the third and final day of the tour, which I'm sad about because I've had such a good time. We're then going to go to the Bombay Sapphire Gin Distillery, and I'm a big lover of gin, so I can't wait because I've heard really good things about it. I like Bombay Sapphire and I hear that they're very generous with the gin, so I'm excited to go and taste some, for work purposes of course. But I thought I'd take you along with me because Rabbie's has also sent me a question to answer in this vlog, and it is, what's so great about Winchester Cathedral? I've never actually been to the cathedral before, so I'm going to be on a mission today to answer that, and I'll take you along with me and show you everything that I get up to. But first, breakfast. Welcome to Winchester. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes to drive here depending on traffic, but it is in the county of Hampshire, and I found out today that Winchester used to be the capital of the ancient kingdom of Wessex. So I am now heading over to the cathedral. I think it's in front of me somewhere. I should really load up my map now. My first fun fact about the cathedral was that the cathedral nearly actually collapsed in the early 1900s, and apparently it was sinking into the soil, so they hired a very experienced diver called William Walker to try and fix it, and he spent about 6 years in total darkness in waterlogged foundations trying to repair the cathedral. He did, he managed it, and they now have a pub named after him in his honour. So now people have a drink because he single-handedly saved the cathedral from sinking into the soil. So yeah, it's cool that I saw this, but anyway, I think the cathedral is just in front of me here behind the trees. I'm now by the cathedral. The cathedral is just behind me here and it is magnificent. So I've actually learned a few fun facts about the cathedral that I thought I would share with you. So I believe there used to be 2 cathedrals here in Winchester. The first one dates back to the 7th century, and the present one, which is the one behind me, took 300 years to build, and it dates back to the 11th century and is built in the Norman Romanesque style. There's 2 very particularly famous people that have been buried here. The first one is King Alfred the Great, and his statue is right by where we parked up in Rabbie's, and also Jane Austen, the author, is also buried here as well, and I believe her house is somewhere nearby because she is a Hampshire girl, so I might try and search for that later. But for now I think I'm going to go into the cathedral, but first speak to John because he's got some things to say about the cathedral. And admissions cost £9.50, and I read somewhere that it costs £7,000 upkeep every single day to manage the cathedral, so that's why there is a slightly steeper admissions fee, but I believe it's going to be worth it, so let's go inside. Also, I see John just right there.
Hi, my name's John. I'm from Rabbie's Trailblazers. We're a travel company that offer short holidays, up to 5 days holidays in and around Scotland, England and Wales. Now we come here today to Winchester. Now I've been asked to say what's great about Winchester. Well, all I can say is just look. That's what's great about Winchester. Apart from that, it is the birthplace of the nation. This is where the early kings of England, of Wessex, King Alfred, would come and worship. When I say come here, it's actually next door. There are 2 cathedrals in Winchester. This is the newer cathedral, built in about the 11th century.
Yay! Thank you!
So it's not a well-known fact, but all English churches are built on an east to west axis. The altar is always in the east, while the main doors are always in the west. 2 possible reasons for that. One, is that Jerusalem is in the east, so people always pray towards Jerusalem, a little bit the Muslims do with Mecca. Also the fact that early churches were built on pagan sites, sites of worship, and the pagans like to celebrate the sunshine.
Has just ended my tour of Winchester Cathedral, which is very magnificent. Huge thank you to John for coming in with me and telling me all of the facts and the stories as well, which was super interesting. And I also saw Jane Austen's grave as well. Oh, we're under a dark wood. Wait, let me try and readjust you in here. Here we go. But I was asking him as well what the difference is between a church and a cathedral, because I always get it mixed up, and he told me that the difference is that a cathedral always has a bishop, whereas a church doesn't. But you can also call a cathedral a church, but that's the way to differentiate them. So I'm like, oh, now I know. But now I'm going to, what am I saying? Now I'm going to grab a quick bite to eat and then have a wander around Winchester, and then we're going to go to the Bombay Sapphire Gin Distillery, which I am very excited about. So a day of culture and then another type of culture. So let's go. Oh, another thing I learned as well is that the bell in Winchester always chimes at 8 o'clock, and that's because that used to be the curfew bell back in the day to get people to go home. Now that's when the things are just getting started, so yeah, that's why it still chimes now. I've come over to a coffee shop called Coffee Lab now, and I've ordered myself a matcha latte and also a sandwich combination I've never had before. This is the toasted brie, apple and pear sandwich. It looks like this. Actually smells very good. So it tastes like a mince pie with cheese and toasted. It's actually very good. About 30 minutes from Winchester, we are now at the Bombay Sapphire Distillery. Tickets are about £14.50 for an adult, and you get a tour with it. So you get given this personal interactive guide, because right at the back there is a special microchip that you're meant to tap at various stations. I think there's 6 in total throughout the distillery, to find out more about the process, the history, and also more facts about gin. But at the moment I haven't had to tap it. I've just pressed the button with all the different languages instead. They've got English, French, German, Spanish, Italian and Chinese, so just clicked on that and it's worked so far. But now we've found number 1 and 2 and we're looking for the 3rd station, but I think they're labelled differently. Hi John! Yeah, I think they're labelled differently because they're at various places. Number 2 was actually where number 1 used to be, so now we're trying to find number 3. I think the people who were doing the signs were on drinking the gin before they signed it on, to be honest. Apparently in 1720 there was a gin craze that hit London, or in the UK, and up to 70 litres per person, per man, woman and child was made then. So it definitely was a craze, but they weren't doing it very well. They're doing it pretty poorly and pretty cheaply. Anyway, next stop we are in the glass house, and I think we're going to find some juniper berries, which is a key component to gin making. Ron, are you excited?
Yes, I am.
The jars smell, they contain all 22 of the aroma characters of Bombay Sapphire. So lift the lid, get the hooter in, have a good smell, and if it's something you love, then you pull out the drawer, you get the holy punch and you snap off the number corresponding. One of 4 things happens. You're either very much drawn to one section, in which case that's your palate telling you which cocktail to go for, or you're sporadic. I like that word so much I'm going to say it again, sporadic, and you have something in the middle. So by the time you get to the bar you'll be able to say, oh, I want that one, alright? Because your nose picks, don't pick your nose.
Just went inside to the distillery, but we weren't allowed to bring in any electronics because it's still actually working over there. But I found out that apparently this distillery used to be a paper mill because they had a 150-year contract with the Bank of England to print banknotes, but then it was very derelict. So then Bacardi then bought this and then turned it into the Bombay Sapphire Distillery. distillery that we see today. So it was really cool inside because we got to see the stills, and it was one called Thomas and one called Mary. Thomas was the founder, and Mary married Thomas's great-great-grandson, and she came up with the vapor infusion process, which is how you make gin to this day. And Thomas was the actual founder of Bombay Sapphire, and his original recipe is still being made in the London dry gin that we see today, which is super interesting. We were learning about the distilling process as well, and they distill it 4 times, but they have to get rid of the head right at the very start because the botanicals aren't warmed up yet, so apparently the flavors aren't really there. So they get rid of that and put it in the last tank, and then they also have the tails, which is right at the very end when the botanicals are a bit more worn out and tired, and then they have to then put it all into one tank that you can't reuse again for alcohol purposes in terms of drinking, and then it gets transformed into things that require alcohol and things like hand sanitizers and stuff like that. So the hand sanitizer we use today could actually have the unwanted bits of Bombay Sapphire in, which is kind of mind-blowing, and I thought that was really cool. But anyway, after all of that, it's now time to head into the gin bar, which is the best part of the tour. So with your ticket you actually get a complimentary cocktail, and because I have this little form here, I think mine is mostly citrus, so it's coriander and lemon peel. They're going to make me either a Rosy Rain, a Coca-Cola, which is alcohol free, which is the one I'm not opting for, or a Tutti Frutti, which is a £2 extra charge for. So I'm gonna head over to the bar now. Learn a lot today. I literally love gin, so it's really cool to learn all about it, and I just tripped over my chair and tried to elegantly act like I was into it. But this is my 3rd distillery, so I went to the Sipsmith one, I went to one in the City of London, which I forget the name for, and then Bombay Sapphire, and this one is probably the biggest one I've been to, and it's very well organised. But anyway, I'm gonna try and find the bar now. I see the bar. The bar is here. Let's go in and get some gin. Obviously I'm by myself now. Oh, I'm not going to have the gin yet, and I can't even open the door. Oh, wow. That's very fancy. Okay, and then please push date.
So we have the Laverstoke, which is lime wedges, elderflower liqueur, vermouth, gin and ginger ale.
Yep.
So it's very refreshing, and that's our signature cocktail.
Oh, okay.
We also have Secret English Garden. That is apple, lemon, apple juice, English Estate, which is our limited edition gin, and then top with ginger ale. If I had to choose, I'd probably recommend the signature one, because that is the one that we make here all the time.
Could I get the signature one then?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
No worries.
John, say bye. And just like that, I'm back in London now after a very successful Bombay Sapphire Gin tour. But I had such a good day, and I thought I would end the outro with a kind of recap of everything today, and to answer the question that Rabbie's first set for me for this video, which is what's so great about Winchester Cathedral. So cathedral-wise, it's so full of history. History was actually one of my favourite subjects growing up in school, and I've always been gutted that I never pursued it further. So being able to learn about the Victorian life via Osborne House in the Isle of Wight, to the Middle Ages and King Alfred the Great and Jane Austen in Winchester Cathedral, which is so full of stories, was amazing. And then couple that with the Bombay Sapphire Gin Distillery tour, which is always very welcome. I feel like Winchester is great overall as well, because it's such a picturesque place, like wandering down the cobble streets, going to the coffee shops and just seeing all of the different buildings and the Tudor houses all around you was really lovely. And it's really nice to kind of escape London and experience the English countryside in Hampshire. Now I'm back in London, and I just want to take the opportunity to thank Rabbie's again for inviting me to your Isle of Wight and South Coast 3-day tour, and for partnering me with this video. I absolutely loved working with you guys last year in the Lake District, so I was very chuffed to be able to work with you again this year. So thank you so much for such an amazing time, and a special shout out to John, who was our driver guide for these 3 days, and he really went above and beyond to make sure that we knew everything, we had a great time, and we knew all the secret spots and everything there is to know beyond the guidebook. But he was so lovely, so funny, and his dad jokes were also hilarious as well. We did all laugh along. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up to help spread it out to like-minded travellers. And if you are new to this video, I hope you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing for more travel, lifestyle and food videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!